Hey everyone, it's me, Tali, from the AstroTwins, and I'm here with Felicia Bender, aka the Practical Numerologist and AstroStyle.com's official numerologist, to talk about the new 3 universal year that starts on January 1st of 2019. So what is the universal year?
Well, in numerology, we have universal years and different kind of cycles in time that we talk about. And the universal year is taken very simply from the year, so 2019. And to determine what that number is, it's a very simple math problem. You add 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 9. And that is 12. And then we're always reducing to a 1-digit number, unless it's a master number, which we'll talk a little bit about because we've been in a master number universal year this year in 2018 that we are just exiting. And so for 2019, we add the 1 plus the 2, and that it equals 3. So we're in a 3 universal year. And in numerology, we're working with the numbers primarily 1 through 9, and the 3 is the energy and the vibe that we're working with universally this year. So rather, the personal year is something that we experience more immediately. Every single one of us has this individual personal year that we deal with that's taken from our own individual birthday.
But the universal year is for everyone,
exactly.
Right?
So I want to differentiate those two because a lot of people get those confused. So the universal year is more like an umbrella energy that everyone on the planet is experiencing this year.
Okay.
So globally, this is the energy that we're all working with. And the 3 in numerology is the number of joy. And it's
yeah.
Woo! Jazz hands for that.
Yes.
So after this rather intense and tumultuous year that we've been through, the 3 universal year is really inviting us to lighten up. And so it's an interesting thing, though, because people are feeling, should I say, somewhat heavy right now, emotionally, politically, across the globe. There's a lot of tumultuous energy going on.
That's from the 11-2 year that 2018 was, right? Because 2017 was a 1 year and it started a new 9-year cycle.
Yes.
Then 2018 is a 2 year, but it's also an 11-2, so there was the double vibration of 1. Can you talk a little bit about, why was it so intense, this master number?
So let's kind of go back to the future, right? Because this year we have all been experiencing it's the double digit, the 11, the 22, the 33, those double digits are considered master numbers in numerology. And so this whole year that we've been through is the 11/2. And so it's basically the 11 is a very high intensity number vibration in numerology. A lot of people see 1111, right?
I have it tattooed on my arm.
Right
in fact,
there.
Yes.
And it's a very important number in numerology, and it is the number of spiritual illumination, basically. It's an inspired healer sort of number.
And 2018, for as hard as it was, I mean, a lot of people have said they've grown spiritually tremendously. They've had insights from those, I think of those 2 1s, right? They're like 2 extremes that you have to the polarities you have to learn how to bring together into the harmony of the 2, you said, right?
Absolutely, because the way I visualize it, it's the 11 is like a doorway if you actually look at it. So it really bridges, heaven and earth, the material and the etheric, or the material and the spiritual. And so this year has been all about that element, and to gain that sort of spiritual illumination often comes with pain or it's change, right? Things have to disintegrate, things have to change, things have to dissolve. It's often where we find our greatest strength is when we are in some ways at our lowest points, right? Those are the times where we learn the most about our resilience, about our values, about who we really are. And so this has been really a year where that has been at the apex of what we're doing. And yet it's also, and I would like to use, it's all about love. this year, the 2 is the number of love. So the 11 is that high frequency. It's the double 1. Whenever you see a 1, it's all about taking action, being courageous, initiations, new beginnings, all of those very active energies. And yet it's very oppositional to the 2, which it's working with. It's attempting to work with. It's like the yin and the yang, right? And so this year has been somewhat conflicting for a lot of people. A lot of patience needing to be had.
Oh boy.
Everyone loves patience. So not
well,
so much.
I remember talking to you at the beginning of 2018, right at the end of 2017, and it was like, the 2017 1 year is over. Thank goodness. We've had a lot of newness, but it's like been so intense. And then you're like, well, I hate to break it to you, but 2018 might be even more intense because there's that double, that 11-1. But really, I mean, I know at the beginning of the year, in the beginning of 2018, people were saying we've never been so polarized, but now it's like so obvious that we have to learn how to work together. So in a 3-year, how will we build off this intensity, the illumination, the lessons of the 11-2 year and a 3-year?
And what I love about this is that it's not just an isolated event, right? We don't ever just have, okay, this year is about this, and now we're tossing that away, and we're back to, we're going somewhere else. It's like, I kind of think of it like a Lego building, right? So it's the layer of Legos that we're building our structure with. And so this year has been a foundational time for opening up these issues.
2018.
And so we're opening this up to for conversation. or for dealing with,
we have to talk about these. That's something people say, it's like, if only we could just talk to each other. How come we can't? But nobody can figure out how to be able to figure out how to have a conversation about our differences in a 3-year. So the 3-year is about
the 3-year is about
right?
communication. So we're bridging this into a year where the focal point will be communication. It will all be about speaking our truth individually and collectively. And yet that sounds so simple, right? Just speak your truth.
Right.
Well, first we have to figure out what that is, and that and to really, really, really engage in the idea that truth itself is multiple. Right? Many people will say that. And so how do we allow others their truth? And how do we allow and locate ours? How do we communicate that in a mutually respectful, reciprocal, productive way, rather than violent and non-productive?
Right.
And again, I want to go back to the 2 of this year that really was a foundation of love. I think about Miranda's speech at the Tonys about love and love, Hamilton.
Right, Lin-Manuel.
Yes, thank you. And it really, that really moved me in terms of the thematic for the year. And all I keep seeing, across the board with people is that love is what matters. And so we're, again, bridging that into this communication. So the number 3 at its highest and best is really about self-improvement. So this is a year in 2019 where all of us, if we focus on, or when we focus on, improving ourselves and bringing that up and out to inspire other people, to motivate, to bring something productive into the world and something positive. That's really
and those keywords, it's fun, they really fit with astrology and what's happening this year too. I always find that numerology and astrology kind of dovetail in these interesting ways. Like 2018 had that intense 11-2 energy. Jupiter was in Scorpio. Venus was in Scorpio. We were dealing with this like bonding relationship energy of Scorpio, and yet the extremes. So 2019, we have a lot of Capricorn happening, which is funny. You mentioned Lin-Manuel Miranda. I believe he's Capricorn. So, and that Capricorn, Saturn's in Capricorn all year, Pluto's in Capricorn all year. By the end of the year, Jupiter will be in Capricorn on December 2nd. And we have 3 Capricorn eclipses on January 5th, July 16th, and December 26th. So,
wow.
Yeah, so it's all about, already. I know, it's like, you better get that self-improvement. You know, Capricorn is all about mastery and bringing forth your best and being productive. And it can be kind of heavy and morose if you know, perfectionistic if left unchecked, but can also be very like uplifting. And Jupiter until December 2nd, which is the buoyant planet that kind of shows where we're going to have our expansion, is in Sagittarius, which is about joy and that creative expression, speaking your truth. Sagittarius is like the sign of the truth teller. So we really do have this kind of, you know, resonance between astrology and numerology once again.
Yes, and I would love to pick up that point that you made about Capricorn being heavy or depressive, because that is a challenge to the 3 energy, that we can get overwrought with emotions, with negative emotions.
Yeah, what are some of those pitfalls that can happen this year that everyone should look out for?
And I think that we should do a little red flag on that.
Yeah.
Simply so our awareness is there, because primarily the 3 is about shining your light through the darkness, right? And yet you need darkness in order to shine your light on it. And certainly all of us have experienced, I feel, more than our share of darkness personally and universally this last year. And so really a key element is going to be to find it is a resistance. It is a defiance to actually be satisfied, to be content, to find inspiration, to find what lights you up and go there.
Yeah, people think of joy as like, beaming bright lights and sparkly, shiny things, but the joy often comes from embracing and owning the shadows, too. I can say with a lot of Scorpio in my chart that it's when you say, okay, it's okay to, your power's in your shadow.
Through it, right? Experience it and move through it and bring it through and find your lesson there. Find, and I hate to say positive and negative, and yet when you can experience that and then opt for the optimism, opt for the hopeful, and attempt to get some, pivot, to be able to pivot out of that dark area and move into the positive, because we all know how easy it is to moan and complain about everything that's wrong, right? And yet how much more challenging it is to do something either monumental or on the smallest realm. Right? Every day to have a sense of gratitude for what you do have.
3-year good for like small steps, like when we say self-improvement and, these ambitious astrological energies of Sagittarius and Capricorn can really bite off more than they can chew. So it's also important in a 3-year to have that playful fun and kind of make the process a bit more playful, right?
And you will have more success when you have fun. You will have more success with what you do when you infuse some lightness, some creativity to whatever it is. And creativity doesn't mean, painting a picture. It can mean creative problem solving. And, necessity is the mother of invention. This is a perfect year where artists and creativity are going to make a difference politically, environmentally. There's so many things going on within the creative realms that are answering the need globally, right? For all of these very real, very, very necessary things that we're going through across the board. So it's a beautiful energy to infuse all of that and again to move things forward in that way.
Will we see more movement then?
Yeah. I hope so.
And like this, there's been a lot of like frenetic energy for the last 2 years, but in the 3-year, it kind of comes together, right? It starts to synthesize a bit more.
It can, and yet the energy of the 3 can also be a little susceptible to the bright and shiny objects.
Oh, okay.
You know?
So it's okay to be a little bit of a sparkle pony this year, just a little bit? Okay.
Yeah, and yet it is susceptible to being a little scattered, right? And so focus is a good thing to remember in a 3 universal year. And
write it down, make a plan.
Write it down, make a plan, stick to it lightly. You can always deviate. And yet have a plan to start with, and again, and use that inspired energy, and find your personal lightness and personal joy, because again, that is what's going to move you through and move all of us through, and inspire others to do the same. Right?
I love it. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to this 3 universal year, and again, if you want to find out more about your personal year, you can check out our numerology column every month, written by Felicia here on astrostyle.com, or find out more about her at FeliciaBender.com and her work. And yeah, have a wonderful 2019, everyone. Corey has a movie of me doing that.
Sorry, Corey.
He's very familiar with this song now.
Oh no. I think he stole the camera.
Yeah. Oh my God, really?